30th anniversary of the Albuquerque Center for Peace and Justice. I'm here to represent Catering Abode, my company, along with my colleagues, Jewel, Margie. We've got Leslie, who's volunteered at the last minute, and of course Cheryl. These are the ladies that are wearing the lace, the Hawaiian lace. They'll be coming around to sell raffle tickets at $5 a piece.
Alice, how did the service go last night?
And if you buy $20 worth, you get an extra ticket, so you get 5 tickets. And how this works is we collect the money, and the money collected, half goes to you and half goes to the Albuquerque Center for Peace and Justice. So at the end of the evening at 9 o'clock, we'll announce the winner. Please hold on to your tickets. You must be present to win. If you're not here, we'll draw another ticket. And the silent auction, we have some wonderful items. 100% of that, along with the 50-50, will go to, actually 50% of the raffle will go to the Peace Center. And then the silent auction, 100% will go to the Albuquerque Center for Peace and Justice. So enjoy the evening. We'll keep reminding you to come and walk over and look at the goodies and look for the ladies with the Hawaiian lace, okay? And please give as much as you can. Thank you.
To see you all here. You're beautiful in a beautiful space. Don't feel like you have to wolf down your food. You can continue eating. Our prelude is going to be the Raging Grannies. The Raging Grannies are an institution. We can't imagine an event without them performing. They put outrageous new words to old songs, and without further ado, the Raging Grannies.
Is this on now? Understand this is a sing-along. Join with us. We pause after the end of the second chorus.
Okay, wait, I'm not ready. I need to sing. Hey, I'm not ready. I know. Are you gonna be here? Because I was thinking you're gonna be here. Or do you want me to go on the other side? Where do you want me to go?
You're fine.
No now is to go to our mission.
Speak.
thank you so much to the Raging Grannies and the guitar teacher, Sabino. And let's not forget Sally Alice Thompson. Sally Alice Thompson, she taught herself how to play guitar about 3 months ago at the age of 90.
Oh, we have to do it. I have to sing about it.
Now, I've already welcomed everyone, but I just wanted to remind you where the bathrooms are. The bathrooms are where you just walked in, and then also down here, and the exits are right here and there. If I could ask you to please turn your cell phones to silent, if you haven't already.
I'm raging.
May I have your attention? Thank you very much. I wanted to give another shout out for our 50/50 raffle. If you could raise your hand if you've already bought a raffle ticket. And could you raise your hand if you have not? There you go, Inky.
All right. Our ladies will be coming around. And we have wonderful auction items, yoga, lunch for two at Dory's restaurant, wonderful jewelry, a memorabilia 1982 Boom Fiesta poster, and a lot of other goodies. So please come by the table. I'll be looking for you. Thank you.
So if you didn't hear that, some of the cool things being auctioned off in the silent auction tonight are some restaurant certificates, plus some yoga services, not just jewelry, but there's jewelry too. The theme tonight is Walk the Talk, Building a Nurturing Society, and as a committee, we've tried to institute that ethic in our planning for 6 months. And that includes the cups tonight. Our cups are compostable, recyclable. They've been donated by Southwest Green. And so we ask you, if you have a cup, to take a Sharpie and write your name on it, so you can use that cup all night. I'd like to thank the Olympia Cafe once again for the wonderful food tonight. Also, we're going to have a program at this podium, plus we're going to have a video at this projection screen. So if you can't see us, feel free now to turn your chair around if you're done eating, so you can see, and that way your back isn't to the podium. We're here tonight to celebrate that the Peace and Justice Center has endured for 3 decades. faith-based grassroots organization. It's really an accomplishment. It takes 30 years before you can say happy 30th, right? The Peace Center has been doing social justice work globally and locally for 3 decades, from its origins, banning the bomb, organizing against nuclear weapons, to Central American solidarity work and the sanctuary movement in the 80s, to fighting WHIP. Where's Janet? Woo! Janet is hard. And then after the drumbeat for war, after 9/11, we marched in the tear gas-filled streets. How many of you remember that? The tear gas in the streets. Peace and Justice Center continues, in the words of our mission statement, to strive to create a world where our collective needs are met sustainably and non-violently. I want to recognize the Cajola groups who reserved a table tonight. So if you want to raise your hand and give a shout out, whatever you're more comfortable doing. Answer, New Mexico, where are you? All right. The Dr. Martin Luther King Memorial Center, where are you? Friends of Seville, Albuquerque. Jewish Voice for Peace, Albuquerque. La Montanita Food Co-op. Progressive Democrats of Central New Mexico. And of course the Raging Grannies. Rainbow Artists. St. Andrew Presbyterian Church. The United Nations Association of Albuquerque Chapter. Soka Gakkai International, same table. And last but not least, they reserved 2 entire tables. Stop the War Machine. It's wonderful to have so many healthy, vibrant groups. There are a lot of people I want to thank. Oh, Project Peace Pal, I forgot. Project Peace Pal. I'm sorry. Did I forget anyone else? Did I forget anyone else? Okay, sorry about that. There's a lot of thank yous to put on an event like this, as you can imagine. We're not going to thank everyone by name, but there are a few that we'd be remiss if we didn't mention them. So, can everybody hear me? Okay. Well, if you hadn't heard me, you wouldn't have responded. So I'd like to, there have been a lot of people that help, but there's been an organizing committee that have met lately every week, but before that every 2 weeks since January. So if you could please rise and stay standing. Judith Kidd. Judith, where are you? Where's Judith? I don't see Judith. Judith, come on out. Could someone go get Judith, please? And Molly Wilkie. Where's Molly? Is she in the kitchen? Molly, somebody go get Molly in the kitchen. I guess they're really taking their job seriously. Molly, there's Judith, there's Molly. Morning right, please stand. Stay standing. Ms. Jewel Hall, where's Jewel? There she is. Mr. Tom Dent, please stand. One more person who couldn't make it tonight is Suzanne Ziegler. Thank you so much. I also want to thank Jim McKenzie, who secured this beautiful venue that we're here at tonight. His child attended Bosque School. Thank you, Jim. I also want to thank the Bosque School representatives. I don't think Kirk Ward ever wants to get a phone call from a committee member ever again. We had so many requests for him, but what a beautiful space. We did make a program. Julian Roach kindly volunteered to design it. And there are some thank yous here, but a couple of people didn't make it in there in time. I want to thank J. Lee Evans for doing the calligraphy on the placards out at the tables. And then also Mr. Glenn Blount. Is it Blount or Blount? I'm not sure. Blount. He did the happy anniversary banner. And then the signs out by the road that said 30. So thank you so much, Glenn. I also want to thank our very special artist, 8-year-old Alora Grace Dent, who did this beautiful drawing of the bosque, featuring beavers, porcupines, butterflies. Come on up here, Grace. How did you come up with that idea? She wanted to come up, but she didn't want to say anything. So thank you, Grace. I do want to thank all the advertisers in the program. It greatly exceeded my wildest dreams. I was hoping to raise about $300 selling ads, and we raised about $1,300, so that was nice. But more than the money, the reason I did the ads is I really wanted to see our Pajola groups get their you-know-what together to do an ad. You know, these aren't corporations. So Judith wanted to make a comment. Go ahead.
I just wanted to say that Blanche Fitzpatrick, our founders, who we love, her son just walked in, and I just wanted to make a thank you for Tom Fitzpatrick for coming. He's over there in the corner. Wave your arm, Tom. And it's a tribute to Blanche. We all love your mom.
So the list is too long to name, but in general, I wanted to thank all the people that helped with parking and putting up signs. And then I wanted to thank all the people that helped setting up tonight. There was a lot of work setting up the tables. And I want to thank you ahead of time for all the help everyone's going to give with cleanup. Thank you so much. And I think I've thanked her quite a few times, but I'll thank her one more time. Inky Kim is a fundraising professional. She's done a lot of fundraising for really large nonprofits in New York City. And she recently said, hey, does the Peace Center need any help with fundraising? And she said, are you guys going to do a silent auction? And I'm like, no way, nobody has time. She goes, I'll do it. You guys doing a raffle? We said, we don't have anybody. She goes, I'll do it. So thank you so much, Inky Kim. So I'm almost done. You may have noticed that everyone can take home a little party favor. It's a packet of sunflower seeds donated by Plants of the Southwest. So we'd like you to go plant those. And there's a metaphor here. Just like the Peace Center grew from a tiny seed, planted by 3 of our co-founders. We hope that may these sunflower seeds be nurtured and grow into strong, healthy plants that make the world a better place, like you all have done for 30 years. And will do for 30 years in the future. We also have 2 sheets of cardstock on every table, plus pens. And we want those to be a place where you write well wishes for the Peace Center and perhaps a memory if you have. And we're going to assemble those into a spiral-bound memory book. So please take note of the 2 pieces of colored cardstock and write a well wish or a memory. Maybe a memorable action that you took over the past 30 years related to the Peace and Justice Center. We also have a membership table over there in case you want to find out whether it's time to renew your membership or become a new member if you've never been a member. Or if you've moved or your email address has changed, we can update your contact info. And that's over here. John Ellig is helping with that. Thank you, John. He's waving by. He's also selling our t-shirts. We've got these beautiful t-shirts made by Guerrilla Graphics with our logo on them. And they're for sale for a very reasonable price, $15. I also wanted to do a shout out for Alan Cooper. There's Alan over there. He has donated about 20, would you say? 60 t-shirts from many decades, political shirts from the past, and he's selling them for a minimum bid of $5. All proceeds go to the Peace Center. They're in the foyer by the info tables. Thank you, Alan. I know I saw a Leonard Peltier shirt in there. At this time, I'd like to thank our three co-founders. Their photographs are in page 2 of your program. Did everybody get a program? If not, we have plenty. The Peace and Justice Center was founded in 1983 by 3 individuals. Blanche Kirkpatrick, Kent Zook, who's here right with us today. Blanche has passed, but Kent is here. And of course, Dorie Bunting. Where's Dorie? These individuals, they didn't underestimate the power of what a small group of dedicated individuals can accomplish. I don't know if they thought it would grow to what we see today, but at this time, Kent wanted to talk briefly as a co-founder. So Kent Zook, one of the co-founders of the Peace and Justice Center.
Well, you know, it's just amazing and so gratifying to see all you folks here tonight. And really, 30 years, it's hard to imagine. And no, I don't think any of us ever knew it would grow to this extent. And I appreciate you so much turning out tonight and showing your support. And you know, so 1983, what we did, it was, of course, the depths of the Reagan era, and there was more people than the 3 that are mentioned. There was a cast of characters like Sally Ellis Thompson, and you know, Floyd Barrett, and Alan Cooper was there, and I know I'm leaving some people out, but there was a whole cast of renegades, you know, dissidents and stuff like that. So we opened up a little storefront over on Silver Street. I think it's near Silver and Stanford. Oh, sorry. A little storefront over on Silver Street, a little bit east of Stanford and on Silver. And it had about 200 or 300 square feet, and we were just living hand to mouth, and we didn't know it was going to last very long, but we knew we had to do something because we were all very influenced by the activism of Martin Luther King and Cesar Chavez, Dorothy Day, and Gloria Steinem. I mean, the women's movement was taking off in the 70s. So we had a lot of influences, the humanism, and some people were coming from a Christian kind of background. I was coming from a godless, secular humanism background myself. But oh, by the way, I just wanted to say, like, if you notice any little satellites flying around or anything, don't worry, it's just the NSA listening to it. Don't get too alarmed. So anyway, during the Reagan era, you know, we had this incredible arms race going on. Ronald Reagan, I don't know if you remember, he was the president who, when he heard that Lyndon Johnson said during the Vietnam War we could have guns and butter, Reagan said, why would we need butter? You know? So ever since then, we've had this incredible militarism that just keeps taking off. And at the end of the Cold War, we thought the end of the Cold War, we thought we were going to get a peace dividend in the 90s. And that didn't exactly happen. There was a little bit going on then, a little bit of maybe a reduction in some of the defense budget. But then, of course, we had 9/11. And after that, the defense budget, the security budget, the national security state is on steroids, and now we're still living under that situation today. So, which brings me up to the present time. These recent revelations about the NSA, I mean, I think we all have to be deeply concerned about civil rights and what's happening now with the surveillance going on. As a matter of fact, I hear if you go and apply for a a cell phone with Verizon, you get to check a box that says, do you want to be eavesdropped on by NSA or the FBI? You can choose which one. So anyway, it is a major concern, and to me, the major problem is the corporations, major corporations, and the government that are working together and have brought on this militarism, this security state that means we don't have enough money to help the homeless, we don't have enough money for education, we don't have enough money for medical care. And so this community that's represented here tonight is the kind of thing that's going to make a difference, and we can make a difference by doing whatever little thing we can. One thing I'd like to suggest we do is send 500 emails this next week to President Obama and the New Mexico delegation objecting to the surveillance by the NSA and the Patriot Act. I think that's got to be changed. And so I appreciate you being here. Thanks for all your support. And here's to another 30 more years. Vince Ramos,
We didn't know if Kent was going to speak tonight, but I'm really glad he asked to speak for 5 minutes. That was awesome. Thank you. What we're going to do next is we're going to watch a video. It's a 10-minute long video that Mike Swick and Suzanne Ziegler edited. The late community media producer and Peace and Justice Center member, who many of you remember, Pat Dolan, she did this video. She did a lot of interviews with people, and she interviewed Dorie Bunting 10 years ago. And Mike Swick and Suzanne Ziegler edited it down to the best 10 minutes. And so we're going to watch that now. She talks about the history of the Peace Center, how it started, and then also why it's so important. So if you can't see, go ahead and maneuver yourself so you can see the screen. And we'll go ahead and play the video of Pat Dolan interviewing Dorie Bunting.
Ready? Okay. I'm Dorie Bunting, and I first got involved with peace issues during the early 60s and ban the bomb period. And I was just talking with Anna Fries. She said, really, we've been going 40 years, not 20, but 20 is the time that we've had an actual physical office. But we did have various efforts before that around the Test Ban Treaty and also the nuclear freeze. And the nuclear freeze culminated in the 80s with that huge march in New York City, which provoked Reagan to say he was going into a defensive mode with Star Wars. So anyway, we started the Peace Center in 1983 in a little storefront up on Silver. That was the beginning of the Reagan years, and we thought, well, we'd had efforts against WHIP, and CARD started in the 70s, Citizens for Alternatives to Radioactive Dumping. We thought with the Reagan years, we'd have a harder time being active in the streets, and maybe if we had a center, people could work out of that center on different issues and support each other and see the connections between their issues. So we started with this little storefront up there on Silver and Wellesley. We started in the early 80s and worked on anti-nuclear issues. And we actually had one victory, which was defeating a proposed city plan to construct fallout shelters for the city, for people to take refuge in case of a nuclear.
That would help if all the nukes just parked right behind them, huh?
So that was maybe that's one of our few victories that we had. Anyway, during the 80s, the Civil War civil wars in Central America took a lot of energy on the part of several different groups, and we had a coalition working on those issues. And there was also the Nicaraguan Construction Brigade, which sent several delegations to Nicaragua to do construction of schools and pig coffee and that sort of thing. Let's see, there was a movement called the Sanctuary Movement, by which various churches harbored Salvadoran and other Central America refugees, giving them shelter and protecting them in a way from the law so that they could speak to audiences and tell their story of the terrible Holocaust going on in Central America.
I was involved with that in Cleveland.
Also, part of that was the trial of Dimitri Martinez and Glenn Marthamer in, let's see, 88, because I talked to Glenn today. 88, they were accused of bringing 2 women across from El Paso. And they were acquitted. So that was something else good that happened.
A victory. Gotta count those victories.
Yeah. Then came the first Gulf War, and it was a place, the Peace Center was a place to organize out of for that. And we had one big action down in Old Town, protest march and gathering. And as with the second one, we, alas, were unable to prevent it from happening. Then in 91, we had the second Gulf War. Well, we had 9/11. We had shortly after that, did we have? No, it was the following year, I guess. We had those large walks on Central. But
That Afghani war first.
oh yeah, right. That was it. Just try to stop the Afghani war after 9/11. That was it. I was really impressed and surprised that a group of people materialized at the bookstore on campus. Just
The
out of
candlelight
nowhere.
vigil the very next day.
Yeah, and
Beautiful.
then we had that march up Central and some problems with the police on that march. But what impressed me especially was the leaflet they put out, which expressed a strong belief in nonviolence and the nonviolent solution of international conflict. And I was just amazed, that many people expressed support for a program of nonviolence. I thought it was just amazing. So although we haven't prevailed, I feel that the movement for nonviolence is growing and that people recognize that war is not only immoral, but a dead end as far as achieving any positive results. Because one conflict leads to another, builds upon another, and it's an unending process of hatred and destruction. And somehow, with the weapons that we have today, it would not take much to set off. We thought after the demise of the Soviet Union that somehow nuclear weapons were no longer concerned. Here we are talking about building new ones and actually threatening the use of nuclear weapons, which is a barbaric and absolutely unacceptable in terms of the populations of the world and any caring of the future life on this planet. It's just not possible to espouse that kind of policy, even though our government currently is taking this stand. So I think our country is facing really the greatest crisis of our history, and putting in jeopardy the peoples of the planet, not to mention life on the planet other than human beings. So we have a lot to do. We have a lot to go against, and well, I think that we're facing the greatest crisis in our national history, and perhaps for the human race on this planet. And we have a colossal job to do to prevail for our continuing existence. So I'm not sure.
But tonight we're celebrating the work that you
Yeah.
have done. You've done so much work, Dorie. We're so proud of you. Thank you.
So anyway, I'm so happy and grateful that there are young people who are willing to carry on and throw themselves into this work and have an attitude of dedication and service, and just in the interest of a new order on this planet. So that is hopeful, and so that's something we can celebrate.
Okay.
We will.
Oh, we do. We really do. Thank you so much, Dorie.
Thank you, Dorie, for all your service and dedication. Thank you, Dorie Bunting. It was also Dorie's birthday a couple of days ago. I've been an activist for such a short amount of time compared to that woman. I so admire and respect people with decades of service and social justice activism. Birthday to you, happy birthday to you, happy birthday dear Dorie, happy birthday to you. And how old is Dorie? 91 years young. I want to thank Suzanne and Mike again for editing that clip. They went through a lot of video to find that, so thank you so much. We're also really lucky tonight to have City Councilor Ray Garduno as our keynote speaker. Thank you, Ray. It is such a pleasure to go to City Council meetings and see someone like Ray up there, who we know is an ally for social justice. We do have two introductions, two speakers before Ray. Jewel Hall will be introducing Ray, and Preston Wood will be introducing Jewel. And so now I'm going to introduce Preston Wood from the Answer New Mexico Coalition. Answer stands for Act Now to Stop War and End Racism. And they're dedicated to stopping war and ending racism. And you see them at every rally and demo for equality and justice, whether it be immigration justice, or organizing against drone strikes, or police brutality, or Palestinian self-determination, or a living wage, answer is always there. So please welcome Preston Wood.
It's great to be here. It's beautiful, and thank you so much. And thanks to Sue for doing such a great job. I remember I see Mike Gomez, who many of you know. He's the father of Alan Gomez, who was murdered by the UPD. And we've worked side by side with him and many other families. He always, whenever he sees me, how are your comrades for justice doing, meaning the Answer Coalition? And a lot of them are over here tonight. And I just want to salute all of them. Carol, Gloria, Lisa, I also want to introduce Gabrielle, Carla, Arnolfo, Gabriela, and Jacob, also sitting there. They're our partners in the struggle for immigrant rights, which we're all struggling so hard. Right now is a crucial time for that struggle. So, thank you. It's a privilege to stand here and to congratulate the Albuquerque Center for Peace and Justice on the 30th anniversary, and also to introduce a wonderful and outstanding member of our community. Jewel Hall is the director of the Martin Luther King Jr. Memorial Center, an organization that reaches out to help young people become educated and able to speak truth to power for themselves and others, among many other projects that they participate and engage in. She is also a teacher and an activist devoted to the cause of justice for all. It's interesting, in case you didn't notice, they unveiled a statue just this week in Washington, D.C. of Frederick Douglass, the great abolitionist. Why it took them so long, I don't know, but the statue is now there where it belongs. Douglass, too, was a teacher, a former slave. After escaping, he traveled throughout the world, speaking up and standing up against the slave-owning class and calling for its abolition. His slogan, "Without struggle, there could be no progress," remains today a source of inspiration for activists all over this country, fighting racism, sexism, bigotry, the exploitation of workers, and war against all suffering. An interesting thing about Frederick Douglass was his ability, and not everyone knows this, to see the connections that exist between the struggles of the time. Many people don't know that he spoke strongly and participated and endorsed the fight for women's right to vote. He also called for equal rights and fair treatment for immigrants, as waves of immigrants came to the United States seeking jobs and a decent way of life, just as it's happening now today. Slavery is a horrifying thing, we all know that. It's not that long ago that it was abolished in the United States after one of the bloodiest wars in all of history. And we know too that the struggle against racism is far from over. Like millions of African Americans, Jewel too is connected to the history through the enslavement of her own predecessors in her family. Her great-grandmother, born in 1844, was born into slavery. And when Jewel became a teacher in Louisiana, she had to teach in segregated schools until the advent of the Voting Rights Act in 1965. She, like so many others, has prevailed and used her life experiences to educate and mobilize others. Today, right now, the Supreme Court is getting ready to rule whether or not the Voting Rights Act will hold force in this country. How could this be? Friends, the struggle is far from over, and we are still not truly free. I say this not just to reveal interesting and amazing things about Jewel, one of the great leaders here in Albuquerque, one of our great leaders, but to talk about how she has stood up for injustice whenever she sees it, and in so many ways, just like Frederick Douglass. Jewel and I, and our organizations, along with bereaved families and community, came together to stand up against the epidemic of out-of-control, corrupt killer cops and the Albuquerque Police Department. We have fought and won many battles, and there are many more to come. Most of the victims of police shootings have been young Latino males. Many also have been mentally disturbed individuals, not only needing compassionate professional interventions from mental health care workers who are not available. Throughout this work, and and the many struggles by her side, I've grown to love and respect this woman and everything she represents. As we move forward in this particular struggle, and all the struggles ahead, we have to follow Jewel's example. Standing in solidarity with all the struggles for equality and civil rights, that is what we do. The rights of immigrant workers, the rights of lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender youth, the rights of women to reproductive freedom, the urgent fight to save the planet, and of course to stop the endless wars. That is what Jewel teaches, and that is what the Peace and Justice Center stands for. 30 years have come and gone, and another 30 years have just begun. Our job is to be like Jewel and teach. New generations are coming forward to pick up the banners, hand out the leaflets, and hit the streets. If we embrace diversity, and if each of us lets that little light inside of us shine, we will prevail and we shall overcome.
Thank you, Preston, for those kind words. My grandmother, great-grandmother, that he spoke of, was born in 1847. We always, when we spent the night with her, we had two little things we had to always repeat after her. And one was that I'll do as much as I can for others, as long as I can for others, the best that I can for others. And she would have loved to hear Preston say that I'm doing those kinds of things. Thank you, Preston. I strive to be all the things you said about me, and some of the things I wonder how you found out. I mumbled. Thank you. To the visionary founders, Ms. Bunting, Mr. Sook, Mistress of Ceremony, Sue, ladies and gentlemen, I believe this audience has done more for the real issues that affect real people in our community than any other local group. We can be very proud of our record. Our speaker is well known to some of us. Ray Jr., Councilor for Albuquerque District 6. Councilor Gardunias joined the council in 2009 and immediately made his reputation. He made his reputation as one with quick wit and stamina, as a dedicated leader, as a change agent, as a trusted leader, as an innovator. I could not resist the invitation when the committee asked me to introduce Councilor Gardunias. They didn't know how eager I was, but I tried to play it low-key. I was happy to be asked to introduce him because he and I go way back. Now, I'm not going to say how far back, but I will say we worked in the Albuquerque Public Schools, APS, during the same years. He was a public information officer. His duties included news release writing and photographic illustrations for APS's publications. I was APS Teachers Union President. My duties included negotiating for better teachers' working conditions, addressing teachers' grievances, and improving benefits and salaries. Even back then, Ray's story was one of devotion to all people. For decades, he has demonstrated physical courage in his fearless public advocacy for public reform aimed at improving our community. He certainly has not let us down. And he keeps inspiring us. His commitment and devotion to real issues that affect real people has been something that has set him apart from the rest. As caring community organizations, we are confronted with real issues that affect real people, the kinds of things that President has mentioned and others. Councilor Gardenia intends to illuminate some of the real issues that affect real people and offer us some innovative solutions. His topic, Walk the Talk, Building a Nurturing Society. Please join me in welcoming Councilor Gardenia.
Thank you, Joel, and thank you, Mike. You might want to stay there in case some of my jokes don't get any response. I'll need a rim shot. This is beautiful. You know, and thank you for allowing me to say a few words. You know, all of us together in solidarity. This you cannot reproduce in a computer. This is real life. Thank you. You know, 30 years, what an amazing milestone for this organization. What an amazing accomplishment. Albuquerque Peace and Justice Center is a beacon in Albuquerque. And thank you to those who began the center. Dorie, I know you from a long time ago also. Ken, and also those that have been gone from us. Thank them. And thank all of you for sustaining such a great vision. I also want to thank two dear, dear people in my life. Ilsa, my wife. And Tomas, my son. You know, to stay on the right path, you have to walk the talk. Quote, the hope of a secure and livable world lies with disciplined nonconformists who are dedicated to justice and peace. End quote. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. We are at a time in our existence that begs the question, where do we go from here? Our country has tried to rule the world only to make more enemies. Our government has caused its citizenry to doubt its commitment to democratic democracy and participatory democracy. Those in power have compromised our dedication to justice and peace. We have employed force in the greater world where peaceful means would have served us best. Whether it's empire building with foreign wars, wars that are not sustainable, or building a military industrial enterprise is what I call it, but as Bob Anderson I'm sure would correct me, because Ike was the first one to say it, it was the military industrial complex. That all has but bankrupted this country. But not only ourselves are we affected, it extends way beyond our borders, where we have supported World Bank atrocities, enforcing global economies that have rendered second and third world countries subservient to the world powers. Most dastardly, we collectively, through the misguided government, have displaced indigenous peoples and forced them out of their native lands. And we have sent them on diasporas that make immigrants of people who never asked to be cast asunder. These folks, the very folks that we've been talking about all night, have fed the roots of violence through wealth without work, pleasure without conscience, knowledge without character, and individuals without a community. And more specifically, they have taught the taught, but they have neglected to walk the walk. I offer this observation, though. I do not despair. We do have time to change who we are and what we want to accomplish, but we don't have all the time in the world. We must decide what we want and go out and do it. What do we want to impart to future generations? The Constitution of the Iroquois said, in every deliberation, we must consider the impact on the seventh generation. That is 140 years hence. So don't think that the future is tomorrow or next year. It's 7 generations. As persons interested in peace and in justice, we must employ, at the very least, the spirit of this Iroquois law. It is counter to our culture to take the long view. We all brag about how we live for the moment. And just as important as it is to have a healthy body, it is important to have a healthy future. We must think about that every time we do something, as that Iroquois law instructs us. But it is very important that we not be deterred by setbacks, but rather be buoyed by our accomplishments. And there are many. We must also change our idea of oppositional thinking to the practice of cooperative accomplishments. Our success during the civil rights movement, our opposition to the Vietnam War, the struggle to bring justice for farm workers, our present-day struggle and resolve to join our Native sisters and brothers, and also immigrants from many parts of the world who still live the consequences of unfathomable oppression. Those triumphs were made manifest by joining different groups together with one outcome in mind. The talk during these very important struggles in the 60s, 70s, today, those struggles were shaped by very strong discourse, discussions. But it was all a walk in solidarity, and that was the focus and the prize that we were looking for. Cesar Chavez in those days said to us, the fight is never about grapes or lettuce. It is about people. Let's never forget that. We must guard against expending our energy dwelling on past inequities. That does not help. History will tell that story. It is best that we take advantage of the lessons learned and the clarity that we have gained. I would like for us to have an understanding of the culture of abundance rather than the culture of scarcity. Those with wealth and power would have us believe that there is only so much, that it's theirs, and the rest of us would have to settle for what's left. We know that there's an abundance. There's an abundance of all that we need. The equity lies in its fair distribution. By the way, I don't remember agreeing, or collectively saying to each other, let's allow greed to be the formula for fair distribution, because that never works. There is always someone who's going to be greedier than someone else, and we have experienced that. So we must live with transformational rather than transactional relationships. Merely causing policy changes is not enough. I have a document here with 36 pieces of legislation that I have introduced and many have passed at City Council. I'm proud of many of them, and I think they have moved us forward some, but they are merely policy changes. We must be architects of that which governs the path we are free to travel. It does not matter how precarious the walk might be. Linking arms with each other must occur with deliberate purpose. As we all know, what we have been through has been instructive. But we have gone through a time where we all thought that we could bear our burdens alone and by ourselves. We should have known that what we should have done is educated each other to be each other's allies. And we no longer have the luxury of being one-issue advocates. Not if we expect to be successful. We must join together or be picked off individually. There is risk in all we do, but it has the promise of aiding us in our quest to change the game and not just tweak a few of the rules. In order for us to have a wider path in which to travel and walk that walk, we must wrest that game from those who hold it now. They are the ones that control all of it, including the playing field. We must turn that around, literally. As long as we play in their game, we will forever be asking for permission to be players. I think we're tired of being just players. It is our responsibility to change what is a game to that which is a process. The process will be ours. This is something we know. Witness what you see here tonight. This grouping of folks who have like thoughts and are really involved in what is important, I think, in what is happening today throughout this world. As I said, the process will be ours, and that is something we know something about, and it is everything they fear. So today we must face the person in the mirror and not permit individual fear to cloud our collective courage. In Spanish, the word courage has a dual meaning. Coraje can alternately mean courage or fury. I say we employ both. Fury will show our resolve. Courage will get us there. The time is always right to do the right thing. So to walk that walk, make sure your talk is something you can back up. Thank you very much.
It's hard to follow that. I'm just so glad if I'm walking down that path that Ray Garduno is walking right in front of us. Or beside us. Thank you, Ray. It reminded me of something I was going to say and I forgot. You know, we really appreciate that Sally Ellis and Donald Thompson donated the building to us, right? Thank you, Sally Ellis. However, we're grateful to have a building. But you know, the Peace and Justice Center is not a building. We are so much more than a building. If that, I don't want to jinx us, but if that building burned down tonight, the Peace and Justice Center would still be here. Because it's you, it's us, it's people, it's each other. That's what the Peace and Justice Center is, it's people. So thank you for being who you are. At this time, we're very honored and privileged to have a soloist, Ms. Jocelyn Jackson, accompanied by Mike and Vincent Beatty on piano and drum, and she's going to sing Let There Be Peace. Joycelyn?
Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, a peace that was meant to be with God as our Father, brothers all are we. Let me walk with my brother in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be the moment now.
so much, Joycelyn Jackson, accompanied by Mike and Vincent Beatty. Joycelyn is also a member of the Dr. Martin Luther King Memorial Center, which is a new Pajola group a few months ago. Sure, let's clap for that. And I was very proud when the coordinating council agreed to join the Albuquerque coalition against police brutality that the MLK Center leads. Joycelyn also works for APS as coordinator of the multicultural education and director of the Black Student Unions. She has dedicated her life to helping educators be more inclusive and to fight institutional racism. And she has sung the national anthem for Lobo Games. And we're really honored for her participation in the program tonight. Thank you. Now you know we got Wagogo pretty soon, right? I want to thank everyone for coming, but right now we want to honor our membership. And the way we're going to do that is I'm going to ask certain people to rise and to stay standing. So first of all, I would like anyone who's been an active member for 30 years, since 1983, to please rise and be recognized. Since 1983, anyone who's been a member from the get-go, please stand and rise and be recognized. Please remain standing. Anyone who's been a member for 20 years, since 1993, please stand with them. Since 1993. Anyone who's been a member for at least 10 years, please rise and be recognized. Since 2003. Anyone who's been a member for 5 years, that would be 2008, please rise. We're getting there, we're getting there. Anyone who is a member of the Peace and Justice Center, please rise. And now supporters, that's all of you. Everyone should be on their feet by now. Thank you all so much. We are a membership-based organization. We couldn't do it without you. Thank you. Stay standing, we're not done. Now Joycelyn is going to lead us in a group song. The lyrics are on the back of your program, but we are going to be joining hands, so get that program where you can see it, but you don't have to hold it. Thank you, Joycelyn.
One of the things that I want to say to you this evening is that we are going to sing the chorus, and then we'll sing the 2 verses, and then we'll sing the chorus again. We're not going to do all the verses, okay? Because it's getting close to 8 o'clock, and I know we want to go, okay? All right. Pay attention to the words. Reach out and touch somebody's hand. Make this world a better place. If you can, reach out and touch somebody's hand. Make this world a better place. If you can, take a little time out of your busy day to give encouragement to someone who's lost the way. Or would I be talking to a stone if I asked you to share a problem that's not your own? We can change you can, one more time, reach out and touch somebody's hand. Make this world a better place if you can.
Thank you so much, everybody. I actually have to present certificates of appreciation. First of all, Mr. Ray Garduno, please come on up here. For devoting your time and effort in support of the Albuquerque Center for Peace and Justice 30th Anniversary Celebration, your outstanding contributions as our keynote speaker greatly enhance the success of our event. Thank you for your service and continued support of the Peace Center and social justice. Thank you, Ray. And one more to Ms. Joycelyn Pegas Jackson. Please come on up here for devoting your time and effort in support of the Albuquerque Center for Peace and Justice 30th Anniversary Celebration. Your outstanding contributions as our soloist, accompanied by the babies, greatly enhance the success of our event. Thank you for sharing your gift with the Peace and Justice community. Thank you so much. Next up, we'll go on the patio, kick off your shoes. We got grass. There's grass to dance on. That reminds me, this is a no alcohol event, unfortunately. My house, perhaps afterwards. And there's no smoking because we're so close to the Bosque, and there was a really bad fire here once. So.
You know, one of the forces behind this event is this woman standing right next to me, and we haven't given her a round of applause yet. So how about for Susan Stewart?
I always tell the story about me and Janet. Janet hired me 10 years ago to be a media consultant for CARD, and we kicked ass doing a press conference, didn't we, Janet? Channel 4 covered it, Channel 7 covered it. It's because we had great footage of a whip truck driver lighting up and smoking a cigarette at a gas station. That's what got their attention. It's called a very teasable video. Inky Kim tells me there's one more hour to go on the raffle, and we've already raised $460. So that means the lucky winner is going to get half of that, or $230, which is not bad. So find her if you haven't found her yet. That's right, the pot's only going to grow. The winner of the raffle will be announced during the band break at 9. Silent auction will end at 9, so you'll just saunter over there and find out who won. So I'll just say, continue planting seeds, plants and ideas and actions for future generations. Continue to build a nurturing society in small ways every day. Whether that means asking UNM to divest from fossil fuels, or fighting for drinking water free from jet fuel, or labeling GMO foods, or learning and relearning how to communicate with each other in nonviolent ways, or nurturing a more humane police force. Thanks for all you do to make our community healthier, more peaceful, and more just. Thank you very much.